Primary school pupils from northern Poland decorated enormous Easter eggs on Friday with designs celebrating the heritage of the region. Teams from different schools in the region around the cities of Gdansk and Gdynia, which is also home to an ethnic Slavic group, the Kashubians, were each assigned an extra-large styrofoam egg to decorate at a local shopping centre. Some children used glue and pins to stick colourful fabric and tissue paper on the eggs to depict sailors and fish, a nautical nod to the port city of Gdynia on the Baltic Sea.
When I think about Gdynia, I think about sea and about sailors, so we decided to make a sailor.
Other students pinned or painted bright floral patterns associated with Kashubian culture. Laura Galar, 13, said the traditional designs were very beautiful to me. I think it's very nice.
I'm here today to make the egg. As you can see, it's type of a cultural egg, and its culture name is Kaszubski. Here, Kaszubski is about this type of colorful things, like flowers, and it's very beautiful to me. I think it's very nice.
The 20 decorated eggs will be on display at the Riviera shopping centre until the 5th of April, and shoppers have been encouraged to vote for their favourite design. The European Union's flagship policy to restore damaged nature is hanging in the balance, with a vote to pass the law on Monday cancelled after Hungary withdrew its support for the bill.
We would like to see realistic targets, because if we overburden the economy, it's going to backfire on the climate targets as well. So Hungary still completely agrees with the objectives of the proposal. You have to know that in Hungary right now already approximately 1/3 of the country's territory is in near nature status. So we still think that at national level it is possible to do everything that is necessary to have nature protection. And we have to highlight that in the meantime, in the big political context, many things happened. And it convinced us that for the sake of subsidiarity and sovereignty, if you connect it with food security, it is very important to keep the flexibility for member states.
Some EU diplomats said Hungary's already large protected natural areas meant the country could comply with the content of the EU nature law, and suggested Budapest's move was a purely political one. Some other countries warned against cancelling the policy. Belgium, which holds the European Union's rotating presidency and thus chairs negotiations among member states, has not yet rescheduled the vote.
As you've read, it seems that we don't have any more qualified majority because it seems then that Hungary has changed its vote. We have to understand why they do that, if it's the case, and we will work on it. It is still a priority for the Belgian presidency to land and to succeed in this file, and we will do our best to do that.
I think it is in a very difficult position at the moment, and with upcoming European elections it won't be easy to get out of this position. We'll see what's going to happen next on that.
I think this is a very, very important file. I think that Europe cannot afford killing its nature. It is so important to restore nature. It is not only because it is part of our legal obligations after the COP15 in Montreal, it is also because it provides life to our soils, to our ecosystems, and this has a very relevant economic and social value.
The law to restore nature will be among the European Union's biggest environmental policies, requiring countries to introduce measures restoring nature on 1/5 of their land and sea by 2030. Its aim is to turn around the ailing health of Europe's natural habitat, 81% of which are classed as in poor condition. But the law has faced a backlash from some governments and lawmakers concerned it would impose burdensome rules on farmers or clash with other uses of land, such as industry and housing construction.
What I can say is that my view is that there is no alternative than to continue with climate action. What is important, though, is that we make sure that all those Europeans who are very much worried about what is happening in terms of climate change, but also articulate their worries about competitiveness and how this affects their lives, that all these concerns are taken into account.
Other countries, including Italy, Poland and Sweden, have opposed the law, while Belgium and Austria are set to abstain. European Union officials said. The nature law is the latest EU environmental policy to come under fire, as policymakers scramble to respond to months of angry farmers' protests over complaints, including strict green EU regulations. The European Union has already weakened numerous green rules to attempt to quell the protests. Polish families cheered as they burnt the effigy of Marzanna, the ancient Slavic goddess of winter, on Saturday, marking the seasonal transition to spring at the Grodzisko open-air archaeological museum in Sopot. Bye-bye winter, welcome spring, attendees chanted as the straw figure of the pagan deity was set alight.
It is one of the oldest folk traditions in Poland, associated with the goddess Marzanna. Marzanna, in ancient Slavic beliefs, was the goddess of death, of winter, cold, but also revival. As passing of the winter is passing of the grim period of hunger, of highest death toll, and by burning of the straw doll, we signify scaring away or attempt to scare away that period and begin anew.
The doll, Mrs. Winter, is made of ecological materials of straw, linen, and sometimes other materials easily accessible to the ancient Slavic people.
The tradition usually entails a burning and then drowning of the Marzanna effigy in the nearest body of water, but in this case, only the burning ritual was observed. A workshop was also set up where children could craft their own miniature Marzanna dolls. So, the white ones are winter and we're supposed to burn them, and the colourful ones are the spring.
In Poland, this is the first day, the spring. Yes. This woman, this is the bad weather, the snow, the cold. We don't like. We're waiting for the spring. We're waiting for the good weather, and for 8 minutes, this beautiful woman go to the fire, and we're waiting, and we like to the spring and the very good weather.
We're making a little Marzannas. It's a symbol of spring. So the white ones are winter, and we're supposed to burn them. And the colorful ones are the spring.
The spring equinox, marking the midpoint between midwinter and midsummer, fell on Wednesday, the 20th of March in the Northern Hemisphere this year. The event symbolises the symbolic transition from winter to spring, with families looking forward to warmer weather and longer daylight hours. Zenon Fabiannoc is under no illusion that his dismissal has a political context. Polish newspaper clubs. It is known that these are organisations that bring together patriotic people who care about the affairs of the country. And at the moment, we know what the situation is in agriculture. We see the farmers' protests, and simply to express solidarity with them, members of the Polish newspaper club decided to picket the provincial office. Mr. Zenon did not participate in the picket, but 2 days after the demonstration, the director of the territorial branch of the National Centre for Agricultural Support in Gorzów handed him a notice of termination, stating that he was incompetent and useless, despite the fact that no objections had previously been formulated as to the quality of his work. Of course, I will appeal this decision, and I have to say that I could go back there because I don't think it was the director's decision. I think he was instructed to do so. As per Article 18 of the Labour Code on non-discrimination, adherence to political views cannot be a reason for dismissal of an employee. If we are dealing with a situation in which there is a termination of an employee's employment contract in close proximity in time due to the employee's social activity, with no prior objections to the way in which the employee performs his work, then the conclusion that we are dealing here with an ostensible reason for termination appears as obvious. And this deserves protection in court because it is a situation that may resemble practices that have already taken place before. The methods of the current government resemble those of the communist era. I feel 40 years younger. What was 40 years ago is coming back, unfortunately. Repression, dismissal from work. It seems that the current authorities have adopted tactics to intimidate farmers. This incredible aggression and provocation during the demonstrations in Warsaw, this boisterous language, calling them hooligans and bandits. These are typical methods for action from the communist era. We have heard of cases of farmers being harassed. The very course of this largest protest in Warsaw was an attempt to intimidate the public. On Wednesday, 3rd of April at 11 a.m., a demonstration by the Gazeta Polska clubs will be held in front of the National Agricultural Support Centre in Gorzów in defence of the fired Zenon Fabiannoc.